What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another full self-driving video. We just got another version 12.5 update. We're on 12.5.1.1. Lots of decimals going on. Chris here with Stephanie and family. We're going pretty far today, so this drive is about an hour. Now it says 25 minutes to our first destination. I basically put in a mid destination to make sure we do not take any highway. So this is going to be about an hour of FSD with no highway because it's still the old stack. We still don't have the update to make the highway the new stack. So I'm going to attempt to let the car do absolutely everything here. I do really think it's capable. The number one thing that would stop me from doing this if I'm not like making a video would be just how slow it is. So you can see we stopped at the stop sign, we creeped forever, and then we had to wait for all this traffic to go by. Whereas if we would have just stopped and then went through, we wouldn't have had to wait for those cars. So at the end of the day, not that big of a deal, but when you drive for an hour and all that stuff adds up, it kind of, you just like press the accelerator a lot and all that. So normally this type of drive, I think I'd probably press the accelerator all the time, but we're gonna see if the car can actually take us this far off highway on a route I've never taken. I've actually never taken this to get to where we're going. We're going to the Clean Cruise in, what is it, Royal Oak? Ferndale. In Ferndale on Woodward. So if you know about the Dream Cruise, all the old cars come out. This is kind of a play on that with a bunch of EVs. So this is where you can see 46 and a 55 is just, it's just brutal. It's just brutal. But we're going to see if we can let the car kind of do everything here and just enjoy the trip. All right, so here's our first stop sign. It is a four-way, and we're just going to go straight through. And stop signs have been really good. You can see the line is a bit faded here, but doesn't seem to be tripping up FSD at all. We'll get to 0, and we'll move right through. So that actually felt really good. I felt no need to, like accelerate or intervene or do anything there. So good to see. So in this video, I'm going to talk a lot about the speed control and how the car will often go under the speed limit. Sometimes it goes a little over the speed limit, but I wanted to add kind of after the fact, after I kind of reviewed this video and everything, I realized it's not as big of a deal as I thought initially. Yes, it's annoying to go under the speed limit. It's also annoying for the drivers around you, which can cause them to be kind of annoyed or upset and maybe drive dangerously around you. But think about it this way. The difference between going 55 or 50 miles per hour over a 50-mile span is just about a 5-minute difference. Does it really matter that much? 5 minutes? No, I don't think it does. And you can think of it from another way. Now, for this, I plugged the numbers into chat-gpt, so they might not be perfectly accurate, but it was the quickest way I could think to do it. Energy usage. So at 50 miles per hour for 50 miles in a Model Y, you'll use about 11.1 kilowatt hours. And at 55 miles per hour, you'll use about 11.9 kilowatt hours. So you're using 7% more energy to go the same distance. You're going to pay more for that. It's not that much, but if you do this every single drive, it's going to add up over time, more wear on your battery for the same amount of miles. It's at least something to think about. Now, the cost in that electricity difference, I'm not so concerned about because I use solar panels to help charge my cars for free. And if you are interested in solar panels, you should definitely check out today's sponsor, DroneQuote. I have been talking about them and their free service for a while. You should definitely check out their website, use some of the free calculators they have on there to see if solar makes sense for you, and maybe use them to get a quote. They will send out their licensed drone pilots, take some pictures, get you multiple solar quotes, find you the best deal, and help you decide if solar is right for you. I've actually heard from some of you recently, and it sounds like people are having a good time talking to DroneQuote, so use the link below and check them out. I hope you enjoy the rest of the drive. There you go, now it's speeding, so it's making up for all the super slow driving it was doing, right? So yeah, speed control is still like really goofy. It was going 47 in that 55 the whole time. Now we go into a 35 and it started going 10 over, and it's just like, doesn't feel like reducing its speed. So I don't know, it seems like when you're talking about, there's kind of two sides to it. If you're talking about like a self-driving robotaxi thing that needs to like master the roads, this seems like the most basic of things to master, just like going the correct speed. But at the same time, it's not like, I don't know how to describe it, like super dangerous or crazy or whatever. So I would say that they got there first. Oh, they waved us ahead and the car took it. So I would imagine that the car did not see their hand. It just saw that they weren't moving and took that opportunity. But that was handled excellent. I really liked that. So again, going 6 over. So I guess it's going to probably even out to be pretty close to just speeding the whole time. And then train tracks, a lot of people have been asking about this, so I'll notice sometimes you'll slow a bit. That felt really good. Was that good? Yep. And sometimes it just ignores them, but I find that's usually pretty appropriate. So if it ignores them, the bump isn't quite as big. I don't know if it's just a fluke or it's intentional or not, but for the most part, train tracks on this version are feeling pretty good. All right, so here's a 50. Let's see. Nobody's behind us, so that's nice. And we are speeding up. That's excellent. Oh, let me look at the speed. And that's not excellent. 38. Oh, and a 40. Okay. Oh, 39. Yeah, it's not great. All right, now a right turn at the stoplight. It's going to take us forever to get to the stop sign. I'm complaining about really small things, but that's kind of what we have to complain about now. So obviously the person in front of us was there first. We'll stop, and it's our right of way. And we do proceed through immediately. So that felt great. And now, okay, really nice acceleration. Just get us pretty close to the speed limit. There we go. All right, that's nice. Let's hope we can stay here or a little faster the whole time. So this person's turning left here. The braking's a little hard. I mean, it's not dangerous in any way, but could have started a little sooner. And an immediate move back up. Again, I'm looking for that speed limit. So now that we don't have a lead car, all right, we're still getting to the limit. A little faster, very nice. Blinking yellow, handled great. So that's been good for me so far on these versions. I don't know if it's fixed or not, but it has not been slowing or braking for blinking yellows at all. All right, now coming up on an unprotected left here. This braking feels really good, really appropriate. Kind of weird that that pickup went before us, but obviously was all good. And really nice, no delay in that left turn. We didn't sit there forever waiting, which is something older versions would do, especially on roads like that. It would like come all the way to where it was going to turn and stop and kind of wait sometimes, even though no one was around. That one was just perfectly handled. All right, coming up to a red light, we can turn right on red, and legally, a lot of people have mentioned, you are supposed to make complete stops, just like a stop sign for the red lights. FSD doesn't seem to always do it. Sometimes it will, like right there. So we got to 0, and now we can creep up. And again, this is one of those things where it's legal, it's correct, but no human's gonna drive like this. So I'm not saying that's bad or wrong, it's just kind of pointing that out. But as soon as we're able to go through there, oh, that's a kind of a wide turn. I'm gonna actually report that one. Nothing I would have taken over for, but it was just very awkward. It like made the turn too wide and kind of caught itself, and it was like, whoa, 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 and slowed way down. It was able to complete it. We didn't get like near those cars or anything, but it felt kind of off. All right, then we got a left turn. This is a really early turn signal, so it's kind of interesting. Wow, all right. Head on with that guy. Oh, handled it really well. Older versions definitely would have been braking hard for that, and I wouldn't even blame it, because there was a car in our lane coming directly at us, but FSD seemed to know their intent, so really nice on that. And then perfect positioning here for this left turn whenever we get the green. All right, there's our green. Immediately proceed through, and we sat at that red light for a while, so it just makes me think like, all right, if I wasn't making this video, we would have taken the highway, so we probably would have saved like 5 or 10 minutes. But if a human was to take this exact same way and drive as a human does, rolling stop signs, etc., I don't think the time would be that different, because we probably would have arrived at that light at the same time anyway, and then had to wait at that same light. Like the human might have got to that light sooner and had to wait just a bit longer. It'd be really interesting though, especially across these longer distances, to kind of like, I'm paying attention to the road, quit yelling at me, to kind of like race FSD to like that pickup to certain destinations. And not race it, of course, like going 10 over and stuff, but just drive as you normally would compared to FSD. I really don't think the times would be all that different. So like, that's what I'm talking about. See that pickup? He raced past us. He's probably going 10 or 15 miles per hour faster than we were, and now we're sitting at the same red light. So just like, I don't know. It doesn't change that much speeding. And now he's not even going. The light turned green and he's just sitting there. So funny. FSD would not have waited that long to proceed on that green. Look at that. 5 over. Is this how fast you'd be driving?
Yeah.
Okay. So Stephanie says she'd be driving about the same speed. I don't know how much the mic is going to pick her up. Same. I'd be probably going 60 on this road. I could see going a tiny bit faster, but usually I wouldn't drive much faster than that. So this performance with the other cars to kind of guide it, I am very happy with. And then again, I'm sorry, I gotta point it out, but that's the pickup right there with the white and the no tailgate. We're still right with them on all these red lights. So again, due to this more conservative driving, we're not getting all the way down to 0. We had to slow here a bit for this red light, but we didn't have to stop up ahead. Again, I have to keep pointing it out, but that truck, we're still sticking with them. I actually kind of thought by now they would have gotten away from us because they're driving a lot more aggressively and kind of trying to get around people in speed and stuff. But we're sticking right with them, which I myself am also surprised by. But that's just kind of what I've learned over time with using this. It's just surprising. Like, I used to be much more of kind of an aggressive driver trying to get in and out of stuff, and you just don't end up really saving much time at all. All right, so we're the first one at our light. I'm curious to see if we'll take off before this car to our left. I bet we will. So wait for this to turn green, and just about the same time. So pretty good. And FSD is actually out accelerating them. I can't believe it's so funny. And the acceleration doesn't feel hard or anything. That's just how FSD is. It's actually very, very nice. All right, here's our next passing dude now. I don't have much else to do on this straight road besides keep track of these people passing us. So this GMC in front of us passed us pretty quickly, and I don't blame him at all. I was going 5 under. I would have done the exact same thing, but I'm curious, again, how we'll keep up with them or if they'll actually lose us going forward for the rest of this road, because there's just a lot of traffic lights. We did leave the pickup in the dust. He's gone. He took a turn back there, but we actually got to his turn before he did. So even though he had passed us at one point, FSD ended up ahead. And this is like really natural. It's like really human-like, just scooting up just a little bit. And they're gonna slow us down here and make a right turn. So I guess by passing us, they made the right decision because they got to that road about half a second before we did. I want one yellow. Like, normally, of course I don't. But I want one yellow to see how it interacts with it. At least it like went through that one, but one of these, please. Hey, look at this, a closed road. Let's see it. Look how early it turns the turn signal on. Oh my gosh. That's amazing. This, in older versions, it would have drove right up to that and tried to cut people off. Holy moly. That was insanely good. I mean, as soon as I saw that closed road, it's like, turn signal, we're moving over. That was excellent. What do you think? Did you love that?
Yeah.
Yep, Stephanie loved it. All right, so we're getting pretty close here. We need to be turning right, and there's the turn signal. Then it's gonna have to slow down to get behind this guy. So, I mean, not the most optimal, but to be honest, it's not that big of a deal. Well, what do you think? That was awful or what?
I wouldn't say awful, but it definitely could have waited for, or like not waited so long when there was a cleaner gap, and it could have gotten over a lot smoother without having to slow down.
Did you think that move over was not smooth?
No, because it had to slow down to wait to get over because of that other car, whereas if it had gotten over even like 60 seconds before that, that car wasn't that close to us and it wouldn't have had to.
All right, I agree with that.
Luckily there was no one behind us.
Right. Yeah, I agree with that. It definitely could have gotten over much earlier than that. Obviously, it knew the turn was coming. But at the same time, I got to say there was a decent gap for it, and it handled it as best it could for the situation it got itself into. So it could have just not gotten that situation. But because it did fix itself nicely. Interesting. I like how it waited for them to fully exit this lane. I'm not sure why it's moving to the middle. Doesn't matter, just interesting to see. It missed that speed limit sign. So there was just a 45 speed limit sign, it totally missed it. We're already going over that slightly, but this is a road that FSD definitely is not gonna fit in. As you can see, people are going a lot faster, but again, they're getting stuck at the red light. So, but it's funny because I would drive the way they were. I'd probably be going 50 on this road, maybe even 55. I'm not saying that's right, et cetera, et cetera. I'm just... Oh, it did? Okay, good. I'm just kind of explaining how I would be driving on this road. And what is this? Human confusion. They're almost hitting each other over there. Oh, some road debris. I'm going to have to take over. No. There we go. We got a disengagement. We couldn't make it. Road debris. So unfortunate. Well, we'll let it keep going. We had one disengagement. That is something that sometimes the car will react to road debris, but I guess it has to be bigger than that. I'm actually surprised it didn't pick that up. But there you go, proof right there. We could not make it 1 hour without a disengagement due to something. So not quite robotaxi status yet. All right, so we're gonna have to get over here in 400 feet, unless this lane also turns right. It might, but I don't think so. Yep, so there you go. I mean, that was fine. Do you agree or no?
Yeah, it was fine.
Okay, Stephanie agrees it was fine. All right, and then we got a left turn here, which should not be a big deal at all. I like how it's kind of getting in this open lane to make it through here. Now keep going, no stopping, it's green. It's a little timid. There's plenty of room. I think it's just this arc is a little tight. But yeah, it makes it right through there. Awesome. And now we're not going to get stuck back there. It made it through on the open part of the road, and we have over a mile before we got to make another maneuver, so this lane is a good choice. Again, 0.7 miles, and then we have a big gap in front of us and behind us. If I bring up this camera really quick, you can see it could be moving over, and the car is just sitting over here in the left lane. It's just not the best decision because there's a bunch of cars over to the left that are now catching up to us, and we're going to have to interact with these cars, which is going to be super annoying, but that's what it does. There's also a tiny bit of road debris there, but we were over far enough to ignore it. And we'll just let it do its thing. So what I do like, oh, it's speeding up to get in front of that guy, but it should have done it much earlier. I totally agree with that. But what I do like is that when it gets into these situations, it is able to navigate through them and do what it needs to do. And what I really think is happening, it's just a guess. We'll see. It's going to turn signal on and get in between people. So let me put these cameras up so you can see. My guess is that, you know how before we were having lane changes on version 12 that were kind of all over the place? Totally a guess, but it seems like lane changes to me are artificially suppressed, and that's part of what we're seeing here. And it's just making them only when it absolutely has to. And it did get over in time, and it's going to move over one more time, which it didn't have to do that. But yeah, I mean, we did end up having room. But here, you give your opinion.
I mean, I would never do that as a driver myself. Like, I feel like at the 1 mile point, like when it's 1 mile before a turn, there should be something in the software that says like, oh, time to start looking for openings because you're going to have to get over.
Yep, that's fair. Oh man, we got a 25. It thinks it's 25. That's weird. And now it went back up to 45. I'm glad it didn't really slow down. That's where the smarts can come in handy when it makes a dumb mistake like that. But I have no idea. I didn't see that sign, so I don't know where it saw that or why it thought that. 11 minutes, Lucy, no more. All right, here's a yellow. Tiny bit late on that braking. I would say more than a tiny bit late. Not super hard, obviously. Person behind us had time to stop and everything, but I would have just been regenning a little earlier than that. All right, so we're just about finishing up here. We have just a couple more minutes till our destination, and we don't have anywhere specific. We just got to find a spot to park. So overall, the drive has felt very good. We've had no phantom braking, not a single phantom braking event, which hasn't been a thing for a while, but just like thinking back to even maybe 6 months ago, it used to be something that you'd feel sometimes, and it just seems to be eliminated. It's quite amazing. The late lane changes initially caused a little bit of concern, even for myself, but FSD, although I still think it should kind of start to move over earlier,
Yeah,
was
like right now.
like right now. Why? We have a right turn coming up? Oh, we have a left turn. Yeah, like right now it should be moving over. But, and we'll see in a second if it fails here, it has been able to still do them, even though
It doesn't.
I feel like it's been doing a good job at making its way over. I mean, all it has to do is change it at this lane.
Yeah. Well,
So yeah, it's just like totally ignoring that left.
we're getting on to 96.
All right,
so-
well, I'll disengage here then because we don't want to go on the highway.
No.
Taking the wrong road. So there you go. We got 2 disengagements on this drive. All of the movement around the world has felt really good. Of course, I had to take over for some garbage in the road, which, of course, you have to avoid that stuff. Now, is it really that big of a deal? It looked like a piece of plastic. It probably would have been fine, but you never know if there's a nail in there or that gets caught up in your wheel or something. You can't be hitting random things in the road. It's just not okay. And then this also was very strange that it missed that. It seems like a really weird thing for it to miss, like super obvious. But other than that, the ride felt really good. The speed control can use some work. Overall, I think it's mostly just an annoyance when you're in control and you can just like speed up yourself and you're trying to like sit there and let it do stuff. But if this was actually robotaxi and you're sitting there looking at your phone, I don't think it really matters that much or would change much. So you can give a couple thoughts?
Overall, I was actually pretty impressed. The speed seems to be much better when you're on a multi-lane road. So that was interesting. And yeah, the only irritating thing for me was just waiting until the very last minute to change lanes to make a turn. Other than that, it was good.
Sweet. Stats have been posted on the screen. I hope you enjoyed, and you will see me and FSD in the next video.